Finding yourself bored and numb? Well, no worries, cause now you can get the all-new Ink Pods!
Hey guys, this is the Integrated Math 3 Modula 1A test, version A, 1114, taken on October 14th, 2025. Okay, number 1. Fill in the blanks so that you are using all positive numbers between 1 and 3. Okay. So that means that with 7, I don't know, I'm thinking like 3, 2, and 2. Now, you might say they're repeating, but remember, cages can repeat. So this is a cage because it has a darkened area. Okay, that means down here that I'm only missing numbers 1, and then 2 numbers that subtract to be positive 1 is a 2. And you're missing a 3. Let's do that one red. And then okay, so let's go back here. This is bad. So can I switch those or have like a 1? Let's see if we can switch that. So if I have a 1 here, that one's repeating, so you can't have that. Let's try. Let's try 3, 1, 3. See if that works. Okay, get down here. I'm missing a 2. Over here, I'm missing a 2. So those 2 numbers have to subtract. So it could be a 1 or a 3. This one will have to be a 1. So I have numbers 1, 2, and 3. I think that works. I'm missing a 1 up here and then a 2 up here. Okay. Number 2, given x squared minus 2x minus 8 equals 0, which pair of consecutive integers contains the roots? Okay, so you can just, we have standard form. Ax squared plus bx plus c. And if you just got the problem wrong, you got 1 point if you wrote x equals negative b over 2a. Okay, a lot of you guys are struggling with that negative sign, so keep it on the outside. My b value is negative 2 and my a value is 1. So if you simplify this in blue, this is negative 2 over 2, which is negative 1. And then the opposite of that is positive 1. Okay, if you use your calculator, the number you want in the middle is 1. So let's say you did 0, negative 1, negative 2. You can go above. And what we're trying to do here is find either a number that's 0 on the y side. So 1, negative 9. 2, negative 8, 3, negative 5, 4, 0. Okay, so we can stop right here because that's what we're looking for. If you actually graph that, 4 and negative 2, our graph does something like this. Okay, so I'm trying to point out that's going exactly through a point. Now, some of you noticed some sign changes. So I put in 5 in there. That'll give me 7. And then some of you might say, well, from negative 5 to positive 7 is a sign change. So it's between -1 and 3 or something like that. But what we're trying to tell you is that because there's an exact value of a 0 here, 4, 0, and -2, 0, the answer is all. Okay, if you got some partial credit, if your table was completely correct, and you found the AOS, and then maybe your table was partially correct. And when I mean partially correct, a lot of students didn't go down to that 0. Okay? Number 3. What is the simplified value of expression 3i to the 4th power? Let's pretend it's this. Okay? This does not mean this. So I saw this kind of quite a bit. This is wrong. So let's erase that. What it does mean is you have 3 times x, 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 x. So you have the same thing, but you have i's. And some of you notice that is I squared. And I squared. And we know that I squared is -1. 1, -1. So you have 3 times -1 times -1, which would be positive 3. And that'll be choice A. Okay, question number 4. You're given this quadratic. And the A value is 1. This is positive. And positive people smile. So the graph's going to open up. Okay, how do you find the axis of symmetry? X equals -b over 2a. If you just wrote down that correctly and didn't have the other x value, you got 1 point. So your b value is -6. And then 2 times your a value, which is 1. So this negative sign's not here, so you don't have to write a negative for the 6. It's there because that's just what it is. So you have x equals -3, so x equals positive 3. Okay, so I saw you got a 1.5. If somehow, you got x equals like -3. But I saw that you have the axis of symmetry up here, and you have the correct formula over here. Okay, that one was worth 2 points. Okay, so how do you find the vertex? Well, you just put 3 back into the function. So f x squared minus 6 times x plus 5. And basically you're taking this and putting it there. So that would become 9 minus 18 plus 5, so -9 plus 5, so that equals -4. So 3 comma -4, that would be choice A. Okay, so if y or x equals 3, that's what goes here in the middle. And then you just need 2 numbers going up or down. You can put that in your calculator and get 1, 0, 2, -3, 3, negative 4, 4, negative 3, and 5, 0. Okay, let's graph that. So 5, 0, and 1, 0. I have 4, negative 3, 2, negative 3, and write 3 down, negative 4. Let's go ahead and sketch that. I know it's going to cross here at 5. That's C is your 5, so it's our y-intercept. And the last one, what is your range? Remember, that's your y values. Let's get some more colors here. So you start from the bottom to top. And it doesn't touch the graph until you get here, which is negative 4 on the y values. And you keep going, and the last thing you touch is the arrows, which keeps going to positive infinity. So numbers, you have brackets, parentheses you have for infinity, some partial credit. For the last problem, you got 1 point if you got the correct table or graph was correct. So you might got one or the other. Okay, on this one, you got 1.5 points. You were super close. And it's possible you switched them. So you could have had something like this, or wrong symbols, right? So you notice this one's wrong. Okay, you got 1 point if one side was correct. That's what I graded it. And then 0.5, maybe you did something like negative 4 or infinity, but no symbol. Okay, on the back side, a lot of students were not paying attention to the math symbols. This means no addition, and this basically means multiply. And how do we multiply? Well, you could just do a box. So I'm going to put 5 minus 3i and 2 minus 4i. A lot of you said, when did we do this? There was actually a day I was absent and you were to fill out the notes with my videos. So if you're just copying without actually thinking about it or listening or paying attention, then obviously you don't know what you're doing. So we are going to multiply first. So I'm going to multiply 2 times 5, which is 10. 5 times negative 4i is like negative 20i. Remember, just think of the I like x's. Negative 3i times 2 is negative 6i. And negative 3i times negative 4i is positive 12i squared. Okay, next we're going to add. So I have 10, negative 20i, minus 6i, plus 12i squared. On the previous, we said that I squared was equal to negative 1. And then I'm going to combine like terms. So that is 10 minus 12, which is negative 2. And then negative 20 minus 6i would give us negative 26i. And this would be our answer. Okay, if you multiplied and inside was all correct and the rest of the problem was wrong, you got 3 points. You got a 3.5 if you were able to somehow get to 12i squared. Number 6. If you were paying attention on the practice test, you had 2 negatives, but this one I only made it a negative. So I have negative 1 times square root of 16, which is 4 times 4. And this one is 3 times 3. That one becomes I on the outside. Okay, this is a pair. So it comes outside. And this is also a pair, comes outside. So now you just multiply those and get 12i is our answer. Common mistake was to think this was the practice test and think that was another I in there, which it was not. 2 points. If you're inside your radical, the factors were okay. Like you broke up 16 to be 4 and 4. I gave you 3 points if you were getting some stuff on the outside, like a 3 or a 4, and some were correct. And obviously more points if you got more of it correct on the outside. Okay. Number 7. I would probably say this is the most important one because we're going to keep factoring for the rest of the year. A is 2, B is negative 3, and C is negative 5. Okay, in this problem, you need both the X and the box because A is bigger than 1. Okay, now we're going to take A times C. So that would be 2 times negative 5, which would be negative 10. And then we're going to take the B value, which is negative 3. We're going to think of 2 numbers that multiply to be negative 10. Same 2 numbers add to be negative 3. You can list out all the factoring pairs. And I'm going to choose positives for right now. Whoops, that's a 2. Okay. So, obviously one of them has to be negative, and when you add them, it's negative 3, so that means the negative team is bigger. So if you got this X correct, and the rest of the problem wrong, I'll give you 2 points. Do you have negative 5 and 2? So I have negative 5 and 2. Again, these are splitting the middle term. So we add an X. Okay, the whole first term goes in the front here. So that was another mistake I saw. A lot of students just had X squared. The A term goes there. Then the C term goes here. Okay, now if you think, this one, both have a 2, that row. So this would be 2x. And this one would be x. So x times something equals negative 5x, so that would be negative 5. And then you come up here, 2 times something, that would be a positive 1, gives me a 2x, and then 2 times negative 5 equals negative 5. So on the outside, I have 2x minus 5 and x plus 1. Now, this one says to factor, which has the parentheses. If you went on to solve like x equals 5 halves and negative 1, that would have been wrong. So I gave you 3.5 points solved. Should be factor. You should have 2 sets of binomials. Okay, last problem. We want this number to be a 0. So I subtract 1, and I have x squared plus 9 equals 0. You can get to 0x. So our A is 1, B is 0, C is 9. Okay, the first way to solve this is you can use the square root method. Now, although you didn't cover packet 1.5 by this time, this was in packet 1.3. There was a lesson on how to solve by the square root method, basically when you have an A and a C value. Okay, what that means is you want the C on the other side, so subtract 10. X squared equals negative 9. Take the square root, add plus or minus. This cancels. This is negative 1 times square root of 9, so that'll be I, and this one would be 3. So your answer is x equals plus or minus 3i. Okay, the second way you could solve this is just by factoring. And it was like the last problem in 1.4. So I'm going to guess maybe like 1.47 lesson. So if we have A times C, that'd be 9, and my B value is 0. Then a positive 3i and a negative 3i. If I add those, if I multiply those, they become negative I squared. I squared is negative 1, so that become a positive 9. And they're the opposite, so if you add them equals 0. Now the trick is when A is 1, you just need the x. A is greater than 1, you need the x in the box. So this problem you don't need it, but let's just show it to you. X squared, 9, 3i, negative 3i. X, 3i, negative 3i. So factoring, I have this. And then to solve this, we'll just set them equal to 0. So x equals negative 3i. Over here would be x equals 3i. Okay, you got 3 points if you got the x correct. 3.5 points if you factored but didn't solve. because it does tell you to solve. Then solve. And then 3.75, if you're able to get like x equals 3i, you basically forgot the plus or minus.
Math is the best. Math is the best. Math is life. Mr. Ang, the best teacher in the West. We're so blessed to have Mr. Ang. Praise Jesus.